Hello everyone, this is Moehawkman and welcome to another Warframe Beginner's Guide. This one is about how to spawn and kill your own sister of Parvos. I previously made a Kuva Lich Beginner Guide, so if you would like to see that, I'll post a link in the description and you can check that out if you feel like it. Before you can hunt your own sister of Parvos, you must have completed two quests, the War Within and Call of the Tempestari. It should go without saying, but you can't spawn a Lich or Sister if you already have one active. If you're not sure if you have one active, just check your navigation map and see if a planet is covered in your red or blue haze. Sisters follow the same mechanic of Liches, where your Progenitor Frame determines your weapon's base element and ephemera if you get one. The list you're seeing right now is up to date with the most recent frame citrine. If you're using a prime frame as your progenitor, it will act as if you're using the normal version. If you need to look up this list later, you can find it on the Warframe wiki. As of this video, there are currently 14 Tenet Weapons in the game. 9 of them can be obtained through hunting sisters, and the other 5 must be obtained through a special method. I will go into more detail later in the video. If this is your first Tenet weapon, I recommend either the Arcoplasmor, Cycron, or Envoy. The Arcoplasmor is an upgraded version of its predecessor shotgun. The Cycron is a beam pistol that works very similar to the new core. The Envoy is a rocket launcher with good blast radius and holstered reloading. The other weapons in the pool are okay alternatives, but I would focus on these 3 weapons first. For your weapon element, I would recommend either Toxin, Heat, or Radiation. You can always change it later by getting the same sister weapon of a different element. Let's move on to the spawning mechanics. The baby version of the sister is called a candidate, and can only spawn on Corpus ship tile set missions that are level 30 or higher. I personally recommend the Hydra capture mission on Pluto. It's the fastest mission that fulfills all requirements to trigger a candidate spawn. I also recommend you go into mission solo to avoid any spawning issues. Before you jump into the mission, make sure you equip your Zorus because it's the best weapon to use against errant specters in the Grand Void. The build for the Zorus doesn't have to be amazing, just put a bunch of damage boosting mods on and you should be fine. After you've figured out what frame to bring to the mission, load into the level and make your way towards the capture target. But keep your eyes open for the golden hand statues that are randomly placed throughout the map. If you get to the target and still haven't found the golden hand statue, don't worry about it. Just make your way towards the exit and hope that you find one before you get there. You might have to go down different side paths in order to find it. If you get to the end of the mission without finding the statue, it's better to just finish the mission and reload it because backtracking to find the statue is not time efficient. When you find a statue, clear out any nearby enemies before you try to enter the Granum Void. You must use a Zenith Granum Crown to enter. If you don't, the candidate will not spawn after you leave the Granum Void. If you don't have any spare ones in your inventory, you can wait a few minutes for the treasure to spawn, and then you can kill him and pick up the Zenith Crown from his body. It's not the most efficient way of running the mission, but do what you have to do. After you get inside the Granum Void, you need to kill enough specters to reach any tier of the rewards before the timer ends. If you want to be lazy, you can just get the minimum of 25 kills to get the rank 1 reward and wait out the timer to leave as fast as possible. I do recommend that you get 75 kills for the rank 3 reward because you will roll once for each reward tier once the mission ends. If you're low on time, you can save the 3 hostages in the void to extend the timer. After you leave the Granum Void, make your way towards the exit or the target if you haven't captured it yet. You don't have to kill any enemies, but if it makes you feel any better, go ahead and do it. If you've done everything right, the candidate should spawn with an indicator above its head. Find it, down it, and stand next to it to see what weapon it has. If you don't like the weapon, head towards the exit and restart the mission again. On average, it should only take 4 minutes per mission. Since there's only 9 weapons in the pool, you're more likely to get the weapon that you want. But if you get unlucky, the weapon could be near the end of the pool and it could still take you 30 minutes to get it. If you like the weapon, mercy kill the candidate and head towards the exit. Once you leave the mission, a mini cutscene will happen where the sister will introduce itself. After that, you can go into the navigation map and press the blue symbol for more information about your sister. You can see the weaknesses, resistances, and immunities. You can also see the weapon damage percentage, and if your sister has an ephemera. I got lucky this time and managed to get one. Now it's time to start hunting your sister. When you look at the navigation map, you should see a planet covered in a blue haze. It will start on Venus, then move to Phobos, then Jupiter, then Neptune, and then Pluto. When you do missions on these planets, mechanical hounds will spawn in the missions. A maximum of 3 hounds will spawn naturally. Down and Mercy kill the hounds. This will fill your Requiem Murmur progress bar. Once it fills up, it will unlock 1 Requiem symbol after you complete the mission. If you're missing the Requiem symbols, you can either buy it from other players or hope you get it from running Requiem fissures. I recommend just buying them though. They're usually 5 plat each, and each one can be used for 3 total Liches or Sisters. By the time it's unusable, you should have gotten enough Requiem relics to run yourself, and have enough spare so you'll never have to buy them again. Also keep in mind that whenever you complete any sister related mission, they will steal around 90% of your credits because the corporates love money. Once you've got all of that settled, go into your Parazon to equip the revealed Requiem symbols. Be prepared to fight the sister at any time, because you never know when she will show up. As you progress through the missions on the planet, the rage meter will slowly fill up. The more filled the bar is, the more likely the sister will spawn to fight you. It will change status from indifferent, to annoyed, to fuming, to furious, to enraged. When she does show up, you will need to pay attention to a couple mechanics. The sister will spawn 1 hound for each section of her health that is removed, with a 30-second cooldown between spawning them. This means that up to 6 hounds can spawn in a mission if your first 2 symbols are correct. Another mechanic you need to pay attention to is that when the sister is downed, she will issue a command for the hound to self-destruct. There's a couple ways to avoid this mechanic. One way is to just down the hound before you down the sister. Another way is to use a stealth frame. The hound will not self-destruct if it can't see you. If your stealth runs out when you're too close to the hound, it can still self-destruct on its own. Fight the sister just like you're fighting the Liches. Down her and test your Requiem sequence. If you'd like, you can use my method to test the symbols. It looks something like this. For your first test, have your Ul in the first slot and your 2 known symbols in slot 2 and 3. For your second test, keep the Ul in slot 1 and swap the symbols in slot 2 and 3. For your third test, put the Ul in slot 2 and 50-50 the symbols between slot 1 and slot 3. For your fourth test, keep the Ul in slot 2 and then just swap slot 1 and slot 3, and this should be the correct sequence. If you have your own method to find the sequence, go ahead and use it. My method is just to guarantee rank 4 or lower. After every sequence test, please don't forget to check your symbol order and make any changes necessary after you finish the mission. Make sure the game saves the new order before you head to the next planet and test again. You don't want to have a situation where you end up doing the same sequence test and wasting more time than necessary. Just like Liches, should you fail the sequence test, the sister will rank up, move to the next planet, and the rage meter will reset. If you do get frustrated that the sister is not showing up, you can use a Requiem ultimatum to forcibly spawn your sister on the next planet if you already know the sequence and you don't feel like waiting. Now, if your sequence test is correct and you delete all 3 sections of her HP bar, she will immediately leave the planet and head to the Proxima for the final confrontation. Please make sure you finish the mission because you have a 25% chance to get a Ul symbol as a mission reward. Once you're back on your orbiter, you can go to the navigation map. You can find the sister in the Neptune Proxima. Before you go into the final confrontation mission, you will have to decide if you want to join a squad or do it solo. The reason is because sisters have a unique reward called Corrupted Holokeys, which you can use to buy the other Tenet weapons I mentioned earlier. You can get up to 4 Holokeys from the final confrontation mission, 1 for each sister that you defeat. It's not the best way to farm for the keys, but if you're farming for sister weapons anyway, why not get the most bang for your buck? I usually do it with other players, but I choose to do it solo for this guide video. Start the mission and progress through the final confrontation mission objectives until you can board the main capital ship where the sister is hiding. Get to the waypoint, defeat the specters and the hound that spawn, and then down the sister. Get close to Mercy kill her, and you will initiate the mini cutscene to finish her off. You will be prompted with two decisions. One is to convert, and the other is to vanquish. If you don't remember what these options do, I'll briefly go over them. When converting a sister, you will not get the weapon when the mission is over, but you will have the option to sell it to other players. Either you or the other player must have a Crimson Branch in your dojo to trade. The weapon should have a good damage percentage and ephemera to get the best selling price. As for the price itself, that's something you'll have to negotiate with your potential buyer. When vanquishing a sister, you will receive the weapon in a message when you return to your orbiter. If you want to use the weapon immediately, you will find it in your foundry. Just type Tenet in the search bar and it will show up. This unlocks Valence Fusion for your Tenet weapons. You must have two versions of the same weapon in order to use this mechanic. Equip one of them and upgrade it. Go into the extra options like you're using a Forma. Select Valence Fusion and pick which weapon you want to fuse. You can choose the base element, and the game will prompt you to confirm your choice. The fused weapon will use the highest bonus percentage between the two weapons, and then multiply it by 1.1. Please double check before confirming because you don't want to accidentally fuse your forward weapon since it will lose all progress and you will be wasting resources. I highly recommend that you farm 3 or 4 weapons before fusing because you never know if you'll get a higher starting percentage weapon. Also make sure that one of the two weapons you're fusing is the highest weapon percentage that you have. On top of getting the Tenet weapon, sisters will give you one extra reward when you vanquish them. When you check your companion tab in your foundry, you will receive the hound named after the sister you defeated. There are 3 hounds to level up and guild if you're trying to get the mastery point. You can also sell the hounds directly for 20,000 credits from the foundry. Just hover over the hound without claiming it, and press whatever button the game tells you. For Xbox users like me, it should be the right trigger. You can also build your own custom hound if you get enough of the blueprints from the sisters. For each sister you vanquish, you will receive one random component blueprint. You can also trade these blueprints between players. You will need one model part, one core part, one bracket part, and one stabilizer part for each hound. To assemble the hound, you must go to Legs on Fortuna. He will also guild your hound, and you can also sell it back to him when you're done. In my opinion, you shouldn't be wasting your time trying to make the perfect hound. One last thing before I end the video, if you want to use your corrupted Holokeys to buy the other Tenet weapons, you can go to any relay that has the parent sequence. For a shortcut, you can just use your Syndicate kiosk in your orbiter, select the parent sequence, press the visit option, and you will load into their headquarters right next to Ergo Glast. Talk to him and he will sell you the weapons. It costs 40 corrupted Holokeys per weapon, so it's a bit expensive. But you can get the keys faster by farming Void Fissure Railjack missions. Also keep in mind that the weapon percentages and base elements rotate every 4 days, so if you're trying to find one with good stats, you'll need to check fairly often. And that is everything related to the Sisters of Parvos from beginning to end. If this video was helpful to you, feel free to leave a like and comment. Anyways, that's all from me today. Be kind to one another, stay safe, have a nice day. Peace out, everyone.